We're in Los Angeles, California. It's April 10th, 1982. Game 3 of the Smythe Divisional semifinals between the Kings and the Oilers. The teams are tied at 5, and we're in overtime with a face-off in the Oilers' zone. You might know what's about to happen, but none of these guys do. They've battled for over 3 periods, and just 20 minutes earlier, wouldn't have believed they'd need overtime to decide this. For everything that got us to this moment and made tonight a once-in-a-lifetime game, let's rewind. Tonight marked the 11th time in 83 games this season that the Oilers and Kings faced one another. That's over an eighth of their games against the same opponent, and prior to the 81-82 season, they had only met 8 times total. This was partly due to Edmonton joining the NHL just 3 years earlier, but it was also thanks to some big changes implemented by the league for this season. Looking to promote rivalries within divisions, they made the bulk of each team's schedule interdivisional games. In an effort to save money on travel expenses, the NHL also shook up the divisions so they were more geographically defined. Instead of being grouped with Detroit, Pittsburgh, Hartford, and Montreal, the Kings shifted to the Smythe, with Calgary, Vancouver, Colorado, and Edmonton. For LA, having to face the Oilers with more regularity could have come at a better time. Edmonton began their life in the NHL with 28 and 29 win seasons, before becoming a force in year 3. In the 81-82 season, they finished second in the league standings behind the 2-time defending champion Islanders. Edmonton won the Smythe by 34 points, and the biggest reason for their success was this guy. Wayne Gretzky had a season that those following the sport had never seen before. He became the fastest player ever to score 50 goals in a season, breaking Rocket Richard and Mike Bossy's record by 11 games. He went on to score a new NHL record 92 goals and also broke his own records for assists and total points. Gretzky wasn't the only one though. The Oilers became the first team ever to score 400 goals in a season, finishing with 417, which was 71 more than the next highest scorer in the conference. They were built on speed and had the youth to keep it up for an entire year. Gretzky, Mark Messier, Paul Coffey, Glenn Anderson, Jari Kurri, all of these guys were still under 21 by the end of the season. And now in overtime, Edmonton's hoping their kids can reignite the offensive spark that they opened the game with. Back in the first period, everything had gone right for the Oilers. The game had opened up as a race between the teams, which played perfectly into the hand of Edmonton. The Oilers scored first on a quick counter where Glenn Anderson found Messier cross ice, and the center put it in from 40 feet out. This is what they'd done all season, using their speed and the open ice to let passing dictate the offense. Most defenses at the time mainly paid attention to just the guy with the puck. You stop him and you stop the offense. The Oilers, though, played with an emphasis on passing and off-puck skating, a style that was more common in Europe than North America. And while their speed and stretch passes also led to turnovers, when the offense averaged over 5 goals per game, they could deal with some slip-ups. Later in the first period, Gretzky added to the lead by doing, well, what he does. That shorthanded goal put the Oilers up 2-0 at intermission, and 43 seconds into the second, Edmonton netted another goal during that same penalty kill. From there, tempers started to flare. 19 penalties were called in the second period, which included 6 coincidental minors, another area that the Oilers had been capitalizing on all season. With players sitting from both sides, their style of offense put them at an advantage since fewer bodies on the ice meant more space to go to work. This was on display just over 5 minutes into the second when Gretzky stole the puck behind the Kings' net during a 3-on-3. The defense turned his way, giving Siltanen room to bury a one-timer that actually went through the net, causing play to continue until ref signaled goal, Edmonton's 4th. A few minutes later, Gretzky nabbed his second of the night, and the teams headed into the third, separated by 5 goals. Not a great start for LA, and honestly, this is what people expected from the series. A year after a 43-win season where they made the playoffs as the 4 seed, the Kings disappointed in 81-82. They won just 24 games and only reached the postseason thanks to the NHL's new penchant for divisional matchups, which they also built the playoffs around. With a roster nearly identical to the year before, the big change for the Kings came in the coaching department. Bob Barry, who had coached LA since '78, left for Montreal, and the club promoted assistant coach Parker McDonald to take his spot. McDonald had a checkered coaching past. He won AHL Coach of the Year with LA's affiliated team in New Haven, but was yet to coach a full season in the pros. That wouldn't change this year, as he led the Kings to a record of 13, 24, and 5. After that, the organization changed his title to assistant GM and brought in Don Perry as his successor, another coach from the New Haven Nighthawks. In Perry's first month on the job, he'd receive a 6-game suspension for ordering Paul Mulvey to leave the bench to join a brawl. Despite the turmoil surrounding the team, the Kings would slightly improve their winning percentage under Perry. But if their regular season series with the Oilers was any indication, their time in the playoffs would be short. That season, LA won 1 of 8 games against Edmonton and forced 2 ties while being outscored 51-27. This included back-to-back losses to the Oilers at the end of the season, which added to a 5-game skid going into the postseason for the Kings, all while Edmonton was unbeaten in their last 9. But streaks can come to an end, and the Kings quickly proved they weren't going to bend over to Gretzky and company through the first 2 games. After being down 4-1 just 9 minutes into the series, the Kings rallied back in an offensive back and forth that broke the record for most goals in an NHL playoff game. LA pulled off the upset in Edmonton after winning just 5 games on the road all season. Their unexpected points leader, rookie Darrell Evans, scored twice in the second and added a pair of assists. Playing in just his 14th professional game, those second-period goals matched his season total, and he carried the momentum into Game 2 where he netted his 3rd of the playoffs. The Kings took the Oilers to overtime, and despite Gretzky giving Edmonton a 3-2 win, LA had already done more than was expected of them. They headed to the Forum for Games 3 and 4, where no one would have guessed they'd have a chance to take the series in front of their home crowd. But that would require winning tonight, and winning tonight would require a miraculous effort by LA. Back to the start of the third, and the Kings still faced that 5-0 hole. A hard check by Dave Lumley in the corner got everyone fired up, and following a minor scrum, each team was down to 4 skaters. This time though, LA would be the team to capitalize on the extra ice, with Jay Wells sending in the Kings' first of the night. Less than 4 minutes later, LA found themselves with their 9th power play of the game, and they finally ended one early thanks to Doug Smith putting in a rebound just under the crossbar. With their lead trimmed to 3, the Oilers' offense tried to heat back up, but when their chances weren't snuffed out by the Kings, the goalpost made the stops. Gretzky would take a stick to the face, skaters paired up, and it looked like momentum was done swinging in LA's favor as the Kings gifted the Oilers a 5-on-3 advantage. But the Oilers' offense was stymied just long enough, and with under 5.5 remaining, the Kings made their final push. It started with a steal in the Oilers' end, which led to Charlie Simmer sneaking one in from behind the net. Less than a minute later, the Kings broke out off a Gretzky turnover, and Steve Bozak hit a wrister for LA's second 4-on-4 goal of the game. With under a minute to play, now down 1, an Oilers penalty plus an empty net gave the Kings a 2-man advantage. The final 15 seconds had both teams scrambling in the Oilers' end before the puck reached Hardy at the point.
In front to the blue line to Hardy. He shoots, save, rebound, score! I see it and I still don't believe it.
With 5 seconds left, Bozak put in the rebound, and after one last face-off, the teams headed to overtime. In extra time though, it once again looked like the Kings' magic had run out. 20 seconds in, and Lassard's attempt to corral a shot sent him sprawling. The puck found Messier, who got a chance at an untended net, but he sailed it wide. After some back and forth play, the Kings were able to establish possession, and Doug Smith threw in a shot that Fuhr grabbed and hung on to. Which brings us to this face-off, and despite all the scoring that's happened tonight, one of the Kings on the ice is still looking to make his mark. In the 1980 NHL entry draft, the Kings took Darrell Evans in the second to last round at 178 overall. Evans spent most of 81-82 with the Kings' AHL affiliate in New Haven, before getting called up for the final month of the regular season and his first games in the majors. He made just over a dozen appearances, but went mostly unnoticed before this series began. Just a few months removed from newspapers misspelling his name, Evans was looking to give them reason to get it right. But so far tonight, he was yet to show up in the score summary. And as the Forum waits for the face-off, no one knows what'll come next in this already miraculous comeback. The Kings have battled back just to get here, while the Oilers had to scramble to regain their composure and now hope to put an end to this improbable night. All the names you'd expect have been involved and have given brilliant performances, while an unheralded rookie waits in the wings, looking to cement his spot in the pros. Unknown to them, it would all come down to this final drop of the puck. Welcome to a moment in history.
On the draw, shot by Evans, he scores! Oh!
The Kings completed the upset, taking the series in Game 5. If you like this, I really think you'll like our Beef History episode about the Red Wings and the Avs, or for another rewinder, click here. This rewinder wouldn't have happened without y'all, so let us know what hockey content you want to see in the comments, subscribe to SB Nation, and we'll see you soon.